Football 24/7 on a Tuesday. It's a holiday week leading into Thanksgiving, but John McMullen has you covered here on Football 24/7. The vibe in Philadelphia is so contagious, John. You got to hold yourself back and control what you can control, because right now, this team's on the way to the playoffs.
Well, the schedule's easy, and if anything, it probably got a little bit easier today. The New York Giants, obviously, firing offensive coordinator Jason Garrett. So again, you know, I say it all the time. You can only, the Eagles, the front half of their schedule is very difficult. The back half projected to be a lot easier. And not only is it easier, they've also gotten some breaks. We mentioned in Denver was down both of their starting offensive tackles. The Saints were down both of their starting offensive tackles. No Alvin Kamara as well. And here we are against the Giants, who are not a good football team. And on top of it, they're in disarray. So everything is coming up Eagles right now, Krause. Everything is coming up Eagles.
Boy, where do you begin? Today is coordinator day, so I guess start there. I don't necessarily have any great memories from any of our previous Tuesday coordinator day updates, and I don't say that with any disrespect. I just don't know if there's ever a lot that comes out of your Tuesday sessions with the offensive and defensive coordinator.
Well, there's never that much that comes out certainly from Shane Steichen. I mean, he's very close to the best. I've mentioned that before. He's not going to offer all that much other than, to be honest, coach speak and things like that. Obviously, Jonathan Gannon certainly is the headliner, so to speak, when they do these things as the leader of the defensive side of the football. And let's be honest, he was taking a lot of shots early in the season. Now things are getting a little bit better. And you kind of want to figure out why that is. Is the defense evolving? Is he becoming more aggressive as people wanted? Or is it just about the opponents and the fact that, well, what we just said about the schedule, it's not Tom Brady, it's not Patrick Mahomes, it's Trevor Siemian, Teddy Bridgewater, now it's Daniel Jones. You feel a lot more comfortable throwing different things at those quarterbacks than quarterbacks that can handle blitzes or aggression or things of that nature.
Yeah, I imagine. I imagine because it is Daniel Jones, you'll see a little bit of what you just saw, in the game on Sunday, from the defense.
Yeah, certainly a little bit more. Now, I think Daniel Jones can hurt you a little bit, probably more than Trevor Siemian. So everything is a sliding scale. No question about that. You remember last year, he had the big run at Lincoln Financial Field. Giants should have probably beaten the Eagles in that game. He also had that nice throw to Evan Ingram, which probably would have clinched the game for the Giants, and Ingram dropped it. So he can hurt you. But, as I said, they just fired their offensive coordinator. They can't block anybody. So we always talk about offensive lines in Philadelphia because the Eagles have such a good offensive line, which is dominating over the past month. It's another perfect example of Jeff Stoutland and the job he does. There are so many teams in this league that have bad offensive lines. And it's not like the Giants haven't tried to fix this issue. They drafted Andrew Thomas in the first round, top 10 pick. They drafted Will Hernandez in the second round. They can't develop these players. They get Nate Solder from New England as a high-priced free agent. They can't develop these players. Meanwhile, the Eagles are picking Nate Herbig off as an undrafted free agent, and he's competent. Jack Driscoll comes in, and he's competent. Landon Dickerson, as a rookie, comes in and plays well. You got to give Jeff Stoutland, it's a long way to the finish line, Krause, and I know everyone's excited. If the Eagles do make the playoffs, people are going to talk about Jalen Hurts, no doubt. They're going to talk about whoever does things on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to talk about Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. The MVP of the Eagles team, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be Jeff Stoutland. That's who it's going to be.
John, have you ever had an opportunity to sit down with him one-on-one? Have you ever done it?
Yeah, I've talked to Jeff quite a bit over the last number of years. Remember, he's been here since Chip Kelly got here. So he's been here with 3 head coaches. He's not the best offensive line coach. He's certainly in a very, very small conversation as to who is the best offensive line coach in this league. And I talk about this in the draft all the time about all players. Could be a quarterback, could be a running back, Devontae Smith. All you have to do is look at Devontae Smith versus Jalen Reagor, the last 2 first-round picks. But, I think too many people think you drafted a player and that's it. Period. You either get a good player or a bad player. It's not the case. There's a lot of development. There's a lot of coaching that has to go on. And you're seeing that with Jeff Stoutland constantly, whether it's somebody like Jack Driscoll or Nate Herbig, an undrafted kid. As I mentioned, Andre Dillard improved. People were talking about him as a bust. I got news for you. Andre Dillard doesn't even start on this team. And he'd start on at least 10 other NFL teams. And I'm probably being conservative. And we haven't even brought up Jordan Mailata, who never played a down of organized football before. The day you talk about, have I talked to Jeff Stoutland? The first time I ever talked to Jordan Mailata, he didn't know how to put on his helmet. He had to have instructions to put on his helmet. That's, and he turned Jordan Mailata from that into one of the best tackles in this league in 3 years, basically.
What is it, Johnny Mac, that you think is the key to being a great offensive lineman? Is it technique? Is it speed? Is it football IQ? Or maybe the answer is all the above.
Yeah, it is. It's always, I mean, technique is a big part of it. You see Jason Kelsey, everybody has different traits. Jason, for instance, is undersized for his position, but he's the best athlete. So he's got tremendous athleticism, tremendous football IQ that you mentioned. Others, Jordan Mailata has, he's 6'8", 380 pounds. He's got extraordinary power. He's stronger than everybody out there. Lane Johnson's got a little bit of both, plus some nastiness kind of thrown in there. So it all depends what you have, but there's no doubt if you're going to be an all-pro lineman in this league, technique is a big part of it, and you have to know how to surface blocks. And, Jeff Stoutland will go, and you talk about talking to Stout, he'll go on for 2 hours about surfacing blocks and about, how one little miscue in footwork could throw off a whole block. And, that kind of attention to detail is what sort of fuels the Eagles offensive line, which is the strength of their football team. And it's not even close as to what number 2 is. And remember, I say that, and they don't even have their starting guards. Imagine how good they'd be with Brandon Brooks and Isaac Seumalo.
There was a period in that game on Sunday where Jordan Howard, I think it was 5 or 6 consecutive plays that he took the football and had good positive yards, if I remember correctly, on all 5 or on all 5 or 6 plays. Just boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Well, Jordan is a big back, a big, powerful back. And he likes to run in between the tackles, and he likes to hit the hole. And, if he were playing behind the Giants offensive line, I'm going to be honest with you, he wouldn't look very good. There are holes there for Jordan Howard to run through. You saw him in Miami, no effectiveness whatsoever. That's another team that's been looking to rebuild their offensive line for half a decade now. They can't do it. It's hard to do. And the Eagles, some of these holes are just massive. And I should also add, Jalen Hurts is a big part of that as well. And Shane Steichen was talking about that today. Because when you have a good running quarterback, and Jalen is probably the second best in the NFL behind Lamar Jackson, you essentially have one extra player the defense has to account for. In other words, if you have a traditional pocket passer, like Tom Brady, and as everyone saw on Monday night, you don't have to worry about Tom Brady running the football. You have to worry about Jalen Hurts running the football, and that opens up so many things. When you have these read option looks or these zone read looks, what teams try to do now is you're always reading the edge player. So if it's going left, it's the right end or the outside linebacker if you're playing the 3-4, the opposite if you go the other way. You're reading that player who is unblocked. You're not supposed to block him. And then the quarterback reads that player, and depending on what he does, you either hand the football off or you take it yourself. You pull it from the running back and take it yourself. What teams are doing now is they're sort of scraping a linebacker over the top to deal with that when you're playing a Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson. The problem with that is if you have a Jordan Howard who's hitting that hole in the middle, you have a linebacker scraping over the top going outside. He's lost his angle. He's lost his leverage. He's lost his ability to deal with Jordan Howard just hitting that hole. And that's why the Eagles running game has been so effective over the past month. And it's simple, and it's a numbers game, and they have the numbers against opposing defenses.
Football 24/7 with John McMullen across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. It's coordinator day today. The team goes back to work tomorrow. Don't forget, by the way, coming up tomorrow on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, Turkey Ball with Derek Gunn, Barrett and Barrett Brooks will be here tomorrow, and Rob Ellis, a special edition of Turkey Ball as we start to set the Thanksgiving table and really look to move into this back half of the schedule and all things right now, Johnny Mac, including conversation about Jalen Hurts, are so sky high, it almost is as if we are in 2 different seasons. And I don't know if that sounds strange when you hear that. I'm just conveying what I hear and feel and see on the comments, on the chat. There's a completely different vibe around this football team. And I know wins will do that, but I've got to believe the players can feel that. I got to believe it's better for the players to go back to work tomorrow.
Well, I mean, anytime you win a football game, it's a lot better for the players. There's no question about that. I think, look, people should take a page out of Jalen Hurts' book. They really should, about keeping an even keel. Um, a couple weeks ago, it was the coach is going to be one and done. The quarterback can't play.
Right.
And now it's the quarterback is going to the Hall of Fame, and the coach is going to be here for a decade, and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to make a run. Even Chris Mortensen called them a sneaky contender. As always in life, Krause, it's probably somewhere nestled comfortably in the middle. There's issues. They have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, they have a chance. There's 7 teams, obviously, that extra. The 2 teams right now at 6 and 7 are Minnesota and the Saints, who are both 5 and 5. The Eagles are 5 and 6. And oh, by the way, they beat the Saints, so they have the tiebreaker. We know they play the Giants twice, who are in disarray, starting this Sunday, the first game. They play the Washington football team twice. They play the New York Jets, who might be the worst team in football. And oh, by the way, talk about disarray. Joe Flacco, our old friend, on the COVID-19 list today. Mike White, also on the COVID-19 list. So they don't have a quarterback room outside of Zach Wilson and Josh Johnson. Disarray there. And then you have Week 18 and the Dallas Cowboys, who are a good team. And I'm not going to lie to the people. The Cowboys have their own issues. Amari Cooper's on the COVID list. CD Lamb has a concussion. They have to play on Thanksgiving. They're probably not going to have their 2 best receivers. Who knows? They might lose again. But they're a more talented team than the Eagles right now. If they have people healthy and ready to go, they're more talented. I got to tell you, this COVID-19 stuff is popping up again, Krause. Every day you see a new player, new high-profile player on the list. That could help the Eagles in the future. It could hurt the Eagles.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen in this NFL right now. But what I've been saying since they beat the Saints, what you're going to see, and this is the best thing you can hope for as a fan, as we start the holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Turkey ball, as you mentioned. The Eagles are going to be playing meaningful football throughout the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. Football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen. The team goes back to work tomorrow. What is the schedule for the team? Do you know schedule-wise, Johnny Mac, for the week?
Yeah, I mean, everything's pretty normal except for Thanksgiving. They're going to give pretty much everybody the day off. And that's typically what happens in the NFL. They might have a morning meeting, but that's going to be about it. And obviously, they'll have the major practice of the week on Wednesday. They'll be back at practice Friday, and then they'll get ready for the game. So, and remember, the Giants are on a short week, and on top of all that craziness, what's going on, Jason Garrett fired. Freddie Kitchens is going to call the plays. They have one less day to get ready because they played on Monday night.
Johnny Mac, can I say this as we end the broadcast? Do you see a road for a run of the table?
You know what? I don't, for this reason. I should say this. I'll say it 2 ways. I do because the schedule is bad. The Giants, as I mentioned, are an issue. I do think Washington is still in the mix. They're playing well. Yes, Taylor Heineke, they had a big win last week. So they're the one team that is trending in a positive direction. So I think it's probably going to be a split in those two games. Dallas, it depends where they are.
Right.
You know, Dak Prescott is there week 18. If those receivers are healthy, um, if they have their core players, that's going to be a really difficult game. But the Eagles are very young. They have a young coaching staff. Obviously, they have a young quarterback. We've talked about it all year. It's really hard to keep that consistency in this league from week to week. You see, even the good teams lose. So it's hard for me to say that a team at this stage of their development is going to win all those games in a row, even if they should win them. You know, somebody might, it's the NFL, somebody might jump up and bite them. But they have a chance to win the majority of those games, and that part is they should. I shouldn't say could. They should win the majority of their games down the stretch. No question about it.
What a crazy 2021, but we'll take it right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, Football 24/7, with NFL insider John McMullen. He'll be dropping in on Birds 365 tomorrow morning from down in South Philadelphia. And then we'll do our big edition of Football 24/7 tomorrow, Wednesday. And don't forget Turkey Ball tomorrow with Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, and Barrett Brooks, a 1-hour special here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Check it out when you can. Johnny Mac, great stuff. Appreciate you jumping on late today. I got discombobulated and jammed up, and I appreciate you adjusting to come on tonight.
No problem. And everybody should like, share, and subscribe, Krause.
I love it. That's it. I love it. Like, share, and subscribe. See you next time, everybody.